Hello students, welcome to your biology class. Let us start our lesson. The last class we read about plasmolysis. See, I have drawn a diagram of a plant cell. Plasmolysis is the shrinkage of the content of the cell away from the cell wall is called plasmolysis. So here a plant cell I have drawn the parts of the plant cell. You see, this is the cell wall, this part that is the cell wall. This is vacuole, the nucleus. These are the parts. Here the plastids, this is the cell. Now when it is placed in a hypertonic solution, it loses water, so it starts shrinking. Now see the shrinkage of the cell, this is the cell, and it has started moving away from the cell wall. And see, here I have marked this as cell membrane. And gradually, as it is moving, here the other diagram, here you see that is it has come over here, as if the whole cell which has gathered in a place. So this phenomenon that is known as plasmolysis. Another case may happen. It is placed in hypertonic solution. When it is placed in a dilute solution, that means it is a hypotonic solution. At that time, what happens? Here also another plant cell which I have drawn. Now this plant cell, this is the cell wall. This is, I have just drawn the cell membrane little away from this just to make it distinct. This is cell membrane and this is nucleus. So this, when the cell is placed in a hypotonic solution or a dilute medium, at that time what happens? Cell tends to gain water. If it gains water, that means it will swell up. So if this is the plasma membrane, just to show this I have made it smaller, but it is swelling up. As it is swelling up, so that means it is increasing in size. And here this is the cell wall, so it will exert the pressure on the cell wall. Cell wall also will exert the equal pressure on the cell, and thus it prevents it from bursting. So the bacterial cell, plant cells, even fungi, they can withstand very dilute external media without bursting. So this is about the cell wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. We learnt about the two parts of a cell, that is the cell membrane. Cell membrane present both plant and animal cell, and cell wall present only in plant cells. Next we will start with the other component of the cell, nucleus. Here I have drawn a diagram of nucleus. You see, when we see the cells under the microscope, we color the cells with the coloring agents, and when we color some due to the chemical composition, different parts get colored differently. That means some parts appear darker. So when we color the cell part, that is what we say the nucleus, it colored, and it colors more and it appears dark while we stain the cells. Now what are the parts of the nucleus? See, it has a double layered membrane, what is called nuclear membrane. So it is bound by a membrane, double layered membrane called nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane which is ruptured at places. That means it has got the pores. So the pores on the nuclear membrane, these are called nuclear pores. Spherical structure present inside the nucleus, a spherical structure present inside the nucleus which is called nucleolus. It has got the nucleoplasm, a fluid jelly like substance which is there inside, and in that, see, this entangled mass of threads, that what we say the chromatin material, and this chromatin material in when the cell is not dividing, at that time we can see this as entangled mass of thread like structures, and when the cell divides, this condenses and get organized and forms the chromosomes. At that time it looks this rod shaped structures. These are called the chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of DNA and protein, and this DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA deoxyribonucleic acid. So it is a nucleic acid. Now inside the chromosomes remain the genes. The functional segments of DNA, these are called the genes. Genes are presumed unit of heredity which carries the informations from generation to generation. That is how the cell will be built, what will be the features, we look like our parents look like their parents. That means what, this similarities which is passing on from generation to generation, and that is carried by the genes. So these are the parts of a nucleus. Now what are the functions of a nucleus? It stores the cell's hereditary material, that is which will be passed on from generation to generation. Heredity, that is the features which is being passed from one generation to the other. So it stores the cell's hereditary material and coordinates cell activities. Some cell activities which are also controlled by the nucleus, like growth, protein synthesis, cell reproduction, that means cell division. Actually it plays a crucial part along with the environment in determining the way the cell will develop and what form it will exhibit at maturity by directing the chemical activities going on inside the cell. See this the pores which I have drawn over here. So through these pores, actually nucleus is present inside the cytoplasm. So through these pores it can send the direction to the cell organelles present in the cell, or it can get the information from the cell through these pores. So this way it is directing the activities of the cell. So it is also called the brain of the cell. And if I give an example, say about in a tray few eggs are being kept, and we do not know the eggs are of the birds or it may be of reptiles, but when it hatches out, so we see, that is we can understand this egg is of this bird if it is of a bird, or a reptile. It is certainly if it is an egg of a sparrow is going to be hatched. If it is that of a crow is that going to be hatched. If it is a lizard is going to be hatched. That means what, the body of the crow, lizard or sparrow, whatever it is, that is already the informations are there in the cell, and accordingly the proteins which will be synthesized, accordingly the body cells that will be organized, and it will get the shape, as well as that is the activities also which will be controlled. So these are the functions of nucleus. Now some of the cells which does not have a nuclear membrane, and like this is one which I have drawn. This is a bacterial cell which has the cell membrane. Outer to this, the cell wall, ribosomes, the cell organelles, and at the middle here you see I have drawn this entangled mass of thread actually, but it is undefined. I have drawn with a color, so but it is undefined. So undefined region with nucleic acid or nucleic chromatin material, that is called a nucleoid. The undefined region with the chromatin material, that is called a nucleoid. That means it does not have a nucleus, organized nucleus. So this type of cells which are called prokaryotic. Pro means primitive and karyon means nucleus. Those who have got this type of nucleus unorganized without a nuclear membrane, these cells are called prokaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells, so and these are seen in bacterial cells or the blue-green algae, this type of cells which are being seen. Eukaryotic cells, they have got a well organized nucleus, that is they have this nuclear membrane which can distinctly it can be identified in the cell. So this type of cells, these are called eukaryotic cells. Eu means true and karyon means nucleus. So here we see, that is what we have learned today, plasmolysis. Then opposite, that is bacterial cells and plant cells which can withstand the dilute external surroundings much more than the plant animal cells. Then you have read about the nucleus, parts of nucleus, nuclear membrane, nuclear pore, nucleolus, chromatin material which condenses to form the chromosomes which are made up of DNA and proteins. Functional segments of DNA, these are called genes. Genes carry the these are presumed unit of heredity which carry information from one generation to the next. DNA, full form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. And functions of this of nucleus stores the cell's hereditary material, coordinates cell activities like growth, protein synthesis, cell reproduction or cell division. Also we have learnt about that is prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So today up to this much. Thank you children.